Hello everyone, I'm Terry Candlestick and welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to Echo. So last time, it was the hike with Jenna, TJ, Chase, the spider incident, and all the cool little things that coincide with TJ's route. And it was also the diner, where they got up with the diner, and this time met up with Leo and had lunch, or dinner rather, there. But last time I spoke a lot about, at the end of that, of the Tuesday, I spoke a lot about what I liked with the route. So instead of doing all that, I will jump into it right after saying this. What you did not see is in the intro, when Jenna is talking to Chase after embarrassing Leo, when she asks Chase if he is gay or bi, I selected for Chase, he's bi. So I heard there's supposed to be those two getting in a relationship. So I want to try to get that. So we'll see how that goes. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. Hey. He clutches his cell phone. The screen shattered and the metallic innards exposed. No texting. Let's talk. But I can't. Have you decided on what you're going to do after school? Don't worry about it right now. I've still got a few months to decide. Going to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Despite being shattered, the phone in his hand lights up. I see something flash on the screen. Ah, fuck! I find myself panting, sitting upright in the bed of our motel room. My phone is vibrating against the nightstand. Reaching over, I grab it and hit the answer button, my eyes still too hazy with sleep to read the caller ID. Hello? Hey. I catch the distinctive baritone rumble on the other end. Leo? That's me. You're just waking up? I thought you were gonna film for your project before we hit the mall. Squinting at the screen of my phone, I see that it's 9:02 a.m. Additionally, I realize that Jenna is staring at me from her bed, the covers up to her chest and her laptop in her lap. The sound of running water must mean that TJ's in the bathroom taking one of his legendarily long showers. I'm on spring break. I'm not really imposing too strict of a schedule on myself. I yawn, trying to snap my focus fully back into reality. Despite having slept for at least 10 hours, I don't feel rested at all. Lazy otter. Alright, I just called to let you college kids know that I'll be at the motel in about 10 minutes. Great. What? Nothing. Joyce. What? I'm hanging up now. I need to put on some clothes. I'll see you. Set my phone down back on the nightstand and slide out of bed. Still rubbing my eyes a bit, I dig through my duffel bag for a decent outfit. As I pull out a pair of khaki cargo shorts, I hear Jenna clear her throat. You're still dealing with sleep paralysis? Huh? You woke up swearing pretty loudly. I'm surprised TJ didn't leave from his shower to check up on you. I feel a twinge of embarrassment. Oh? It wasn't paralysis this time, just regular bad dreams and such. Also, Leo will be here in 10 minutes, so you might want to get dressed. I see her type something quickly upon her laptop before shutting it. She slides it out of sight beneath the nightstand. I guess she doesn't trust the cleaning staff. Do you still see a therapist? Nah, I'm not sure the one in Peyton helped, and you know how things are in Pueblo. Everybody's got a mental disorder or something. It's trendy and no one takes you seriously. That's just the stuff that Leo says. They have free counseling services available running out of the psychology department. You don't pay all that tuition money for nothing. You might as well use it. Well, do you go? I slide on an old t-shirt with Southwestern Adventures printed on the front, the red dye having faded to pink at this point. No, but I don't suffer from hallucinations, sleep paralysis, or night terrors. Please tell me you're at least taking your medication. None of that helped, so no. Chase! I catch the look she gives me. It's different from her usual almost paternal stare. Her brow is lifted and she seems more than just concerned, a glimmer of worry present on her face. I find myself turning away from her abruptly, as if I had seen something I shouldn't have. Trying to keep myself busy with something, I take a bagel from her little communal sack of food on the table, eating it over a napkin. I can hear TJ at this point trying to dry himself off in the bathroom with the cheap motel dryer. It isn't exactly a full-body machine like the ones back in Pueblo, so it takes forever. Especially someone furred like TJ. He turns into a damn poof ball after a minute in one of those things. Meanwhile, Jenna busies herself with getting dressed behind me. I don't know why this feels so awkward. Usually Jenna is the one person who I can speak with and not worry about this sort of thing. Wolf Boy is here. Just a minute. I step over toward the bathroom door. Hey, TJ, Leo's at the door. Hurry up if you can. What? Leo is at the door. Oh, okay. Oh, gosh, sorry. I'll hurry. Glancing over, I see the door handle jiggle. It's still locked. Not very patient, is he? He never was. The knocking continues and I hear Jenna sigh. She moves from the corner of her bed to the door, unlocking and opening it. It is at this point I realize she isn't fully dressed yet. Her body covered only by a pair of bra and panties. Leo starts to say something, but the words visibly catch in his throat as he realizes Jenna's state of undress. His jowls visibly thin along the contours of his muzzle, his auburn eyes flicking briefly to me, then back to the fennec in front of him. You said you'd be here at 9:30, Leo. What's your problem? Leo blinks. What is my problem? Why are you naked? Because you wouldn't stop pounding on the door, and I didn't want to deal with the creepy guy at the front desk yelling at us. Now wait outside, like Chase said, just a minute. Oh, gee. Jenna shuts the door. I stare awestruck, Jenna moving back to her suitcase of clothes and rifling through it. Chase, you want to bring that snack bag with us to the mall? I think I have some peanut butter pretzels in there. It takes her only a moment for her to slip on her familiar black tank top and shorts. She sits back on the edge of the bed, taking a small comb from one of the drawers and grooming her head fur. Despite the fact it looks perfect already. TJ emerges from the bathroom, his fur not adequately combed and giving him sort of a lion's mane look that usually only punk guys go for. I smirk a little as I grab up the food bag, TJ frowning at me self-consciously. I thought we were in a hurry. It's all right, TJ, don't worry. There's no need to rush.
Don't we have to get Carl all his birthday stuff before the party this afternoon, though?
Yes, but this is Carl we're talking about. He doesn't wake up until mid-afternoon. If we show up too early, he'll be too groggy to realize what's happening. That's true. I'm not really sure how I feel about the whole early surprise party idea anyway. But it does give us an excuse to check out the comic book store at the mall, yeah?
I went to visit the music store. There's a new Cherry Bloom album out, and I'd like a physical copy.
He pauses, TJ seeming to be in the midst of trying to push down his ex's floof.
If we have time, I mean.
Jenna nods, picking up her phone and purse before heading to the door. We follow.
All I'm saying is that it's real stupid that you all drive all the way back here just to hang out with each other alone. Even Carl and Flynn are sticking together by themselves, eh? You all can do that when you three are not on break.
Leo stares ahead, poking his tongue against the inside of his cheek, eyes squinted against the rising sun. His lecture is answered with resounding silence. Even TJ doesn't chime in. He clicks his tongue against the roof of his mouth. This is primarily due to Flynn's behavior, you know.
You should put your pride aside.
Really? Oh God. I see TJ slide down some in the back seat. Leo insisted I ride shotgun, so I can't really hide as well.
I'm saying that even if you don't like Flynn a whole lot right now, he wins if we can't get over his tantrums.
Flynn wins if we continue to put up with his awfulness. He's older than all of us and still acts like a child. He needs to apologize, to become aware that his actions have consequences. Ignoring the problem like it isn't there helps no one. That mindset is why I had you speak to Chase early on. Oh, God.
You sure are insistent on that, aren't you? Sounding like you got an agenda or something.
I see the wolf glance sidelong toward me, his expression briefly softening. Why would I have an agenda to separate you and Chase? He's 21. He can make the decision on his own. I just didn't want to have to deal with you two prancing around it the whole time.
Won't be the first time, girlie.
TJ is practically on the floor at this point. He's so far down in the seat. Leo glances over at me, and I can tell my lack of response is starting to put him on edge. Honestly, though, I have no idea what to say. You two have decided on your relationship status, right? It's been years and you're still wearing that bracelet. Come on, let's not have this talk while we're all trapped in a vehicle for the next 30 minutes.
Don't worry, Alter. I'm not going to drive us over the guardrail or something.
At this point, that might be preferable to continuing this conversation. Another silence follows. I can feel Jenna's expectant stare upon the back of my neck. Finally, Leo speaks.
I'm gonna put on some music, yeah? Any preferences?
We don't get any stations but the Hillbilly Cavalcade ones between Echo and Peyton.
Well, I've got a CD here.
My curiosity piques. I see Leo look toward me, then nod to the glove box with a smirk tugging at the corner of his muzzle. I think I know exactly what CD he's thinking of. I pulled the little clasp on the dashboard. Instead of a CD, a slew of balled-up napkins fall into my lap. I don't think much of it until I spy the mostly empty bottle of water-based lube sitting in the glove box. Oh, gross. Ugh. Leo looks over and his eyes go wide.
Puta madre, fuck.
He makes a sound somewhere between a sigh and nervous laughter.
I forgot about that.
Jenna cranes her head to see what the fuss is about. She lets out an amused grunt. That's nothing you haven't had your hands on before, Chase.
Ew.
Leo's ears seem downright fleshed at this point, pinned to the side of his head.
Context is key, as they say, yeah?
Don't worry, guys. There's a trash thingy back here.
TJ unbuckles and reaches forward, collecting at least 9 balled-up tissues in his paws. We all look in horror. TJ, put those down!
Sure is empty.
It is Wednesday morning.
We're like the only car in the back parking lot, though. Kinda spooky.
I ain't afraid of no parking lot.
Leo smiles, looking back at us as if waiting for applause. Only thing that scares me anymore is college debt.
Makes me glad I'm not going to college then.
Oh, don't say that.
I catch up and walk alongside the others. It's strange seeing all these parking spaces completely unused.
Why not?
I mean, what if you want to make a career change?
I'll join the army. That way, if I do want to go back to school, it'll be real cheap with the whole GI Bill.
It's unsettling that's the route so many have taken to get educated.
Isn't like I got a nifty tribal association scholarship.
I decide this is a good time to interject. I hope this place is actually open. We approach the doors, Leo looking back at us.
Moment of truth.
He tugs once. It doesn't bulge.
Stupid thing.
It says, push.
Hmm.
The wolf nudges the door open with one arm.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was just...
TJ giggles. Huh. I remember this place feeling so much bigger as a kid. Nowadays, it feels kinda claustrophobic. Might just be Pueblo spoiling me, though.
Oh, geez, not very busy at all. Everything's shuttered.
Internet shopping exists now, Tej.
Oh, yeah, I figured. It's just kind of sad, that's all.
The Link steps off toward one of the closed shops, the perforated steel roller shutters allowing just enough visibility to peek in.
This used to be the mask shop.
I don't think Carl needs any masks. Unless he's got a secret bank robbing life we don't know about.
Leo smiles lopsidedly. You know, he might actually want a lucha wolf mask or something. I remember as a kid, Carl always spouted off random wrestling facts. The fake kind, though, and most of it sounded more like soap opera storylines than an actual sport. I never really got into it. But it still was funny back whenever we were facing some problem, and Carl's trademark motivational catchphrase was, suplex it. Internet modem not working? Suplex it. Fishing pole all tangled in line? Suplex it. Having to deal with a bully? Suplex him. It was the one thing Sydney and him both got along over.
They don't really make those sort of things for ram faces, Alter.
I don't think he'd actually wear it. It's more like a collectible. He has enough of that sort of stuff already. His room is already a cluttered mess. It would just be adding to the pile. Carl sent me a picture of it over Christmas, and it looks exactly the same as it did when we were in high school. It reminds him of better times, I suppose. Yes, but the issue is he doesn't actually leave his room to make some new, better times for himself. He just dwells on nostalgia for video games I haven't touched since I was 12. Yard selling a lot of the junk might do him some good. Leo chuckles, rubbing his forehead.
Happy birthday, Carl. Instead of giving you a gift, this year we're sealing your sheet.
I see Jenna smile, letting out a little amused huff before moving on. I realize that TJ is still standing in front of the closed mask shop. Hey, you coming? I see him bristle, startled from thought and pulled back into reality.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just knew a girl who worked here. I hope she's okay.
I nod, not really sure what to say in response to that as the feeling catches up to us. We pass even more shuttered shops. Most of the pagodas are still open, but they're manned mainly by really foreign dudes who are transfixed on their cell phones. I don't blame them either. In a place like this, the shift hours must drag on. I was fortunate enough to have a part-time job as a Peyton newspaper printer in high school, and it kept me pretty busy. Plus, I got to tell people that I worked for the city paper.
Oh no, the music store is gone.
That's probably the least surprising closure yet.
I really like the physical stuff. My mom and dad sent me this vinyl record player for my birthday. My other dorm mates and I listen to it in the common room all the time.
Tej, you a hipster now?
I see TJ blink, turning to look at Leo a little wide-eyed.
What? No!
I don't know. Gatito, Cherry Bloom is pretty underground.
They're one of the top-selling alternative music artists of the 2000s.
Alternative is just another word for indie.
I bet TJ has an aesthetic blog.
What?
I don't even know what that is, but yes, it sounds like something TJ would have.
Jenna covers her muzzle with her paw, stifling her snicker. Usually she's the one to put a stop to any TJ ribbing going on, but I suppose this is lighthearted enough where she doesn't mind. It's okay, TJ. I enjoy having physical copies of things as well, especially now that I'm living alone at Pueblo. I don't have to worry about anyone going into my room and pawning my stuff. She says this so nonchalantly, but I remember how horrible and common that problem was for her. Leo and Flint helped her install a lock on her door, but her parents just took the door itself away a week later. I'm not looking forward to having to pack it all up for the move to Weston, though. I'll stop by and help you pack when the time comes. I say that with a bit more finality than intended, and it makes me feel a little sad. It's like Jenna and I barely ever hung out while we had the chance, and now we might never again. That would be nice of you, Chase. Thank you. I force a smile and nod. She peeks a brow in my direction. As TJ and Leo have a back and forth about how many times the lynx has worn flannel, Jenna hangs back a bit to walk alongside me. She reaches over, gingerly grasping onto my wrist. I feel her thumb rub across my forearm, and it's like electricity, the fur standing up around my collar. At first I think she's just trying to get my attention, which she certainly now has. But her touch is more reassuring than firm. I watch Leo gesticulate wildly with his back turned in front of me, and I can feel my heart thud in my chest. I expect Jenna to say something, but she's completely silent. God, I'm the guy here. I'm the one supposed to be taking charge with this sort of thing, right? But here I am, pink-haired like a blushing bride, having my wrist held by a girl. My nostrils flare some and I pull away, Jenna giving me an indiscernible look. I reach over and fully take her paw in mine, squeezing some. A wry expression crosses her face and I feel her hip bump into my thigh. She's so short, but she certainly doesn't act like it in any way. The stereotype about meek phoenix is completely untrue. Oh, damn it. She wriggles free from my grasp with surprising deftness, pointing ahead. Sure enough, Birchfire Comics is completely gone, the interior dark and empty behind the chain-link roller grill. She sighs, crossing her arms over her chest. Her turquoise eyes shift sideward. Shit, that sucks. I'm sorry, Jenna. She straightens suddenly, then walks ahead of me. I'm gonna go with TJ and find him a bathroom to wash his paws. I see her walk up beside the two in front of us. She nudges TJ, saying something to him and Leo before they move off in the direction of the food court. I can't believe TJ is about 20 years old at this point and still getting babied by her. Leo is left standing there, his paws in his pockets and his face devoid of expression. He looks back at me, putting on a timid smile.
Want to check out the family plex?
I shrug noncommittally.
You guys said it yourself. There's no rush.
I'm hit with the realization, and I furrow my brow up at him. You heard that? He just maintains a smile and beckons me along before turning.
So,
despite being open, the plex certainly doesn't look like it should be. The carpet is musty, everything smells like mildew, the game machines are decades old, and the roller rink is scratched up to all hell. Leo stops next to a claw price machine and fishes around in his pocket for quarters.
What is an aesthetic blog?
It takes me a moment to register what he's asking, and I can't help but be tickled a bit by the question. I know for a fact that Leo spends a lot of time on the internet, but mainly on the mainstream sites, sports, music, that sort of thing. It's like an ongoing online page that you update with stuff that sort of corresponds to a mood or feeling. He slides 2 quarters into the machine, then grabs the controller stick. A few lights in the machine begin to glow and flash, moving in a pattern around the glass window. About half of the bulbs are burnt out.
Oh, I have one of those.
You do?
Yeah, but it's mainly porn though.
He makes a lewd jerking motion with the control stick, and I'm put at slight unease, noting that this machine is meant for children. Well, better than storing it all in your sample music folder, I guess.
I actually got caught with that, you know?
Damn it, I told you.
Yeah, Otter, I know. My little nephew Eduardo wanted to play games on my computer, and he started clicking around on the recent files thing.
Oh my god, Leo, he's like 10. He furrows his brow, moving the crane some absently.
He's 13.
His dad is your really religious brother too, right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Hey, ain't nearly as bad as getting caught cock and paw by the padres while watching box horse gay porn.
I cringe, covering my face.
Gah. Hey, look.
I pull my paws away from my face to see Leo point to something in the machine. I squint, and in the midst of puzzle cubes and spinner toys, a boxed Lucha Wolf figure rests. Leo shifts his gaze toward me and grins. I see him navigate the crane perpendicular with the box's point of rest. He hits the lowering button. The metal claw descends into the pit of cheap toys, clenching down upon the cardboard edge of the box. It tugs at it slightly, but it loses its grasp and returns to its point of rest.
Shit.
Let me have a go. I reach into my back pocket for my wallet, but Leo is already putting 2 more coins in. He gestures to the machine and tips an invisible hat in my direction. I find myself rolling my eyes a little as I take position. Thanks. I decide this time I'm going to try to grab it from one of the corners. It might not be enough to pick it up completely, but it will pull it from the rest of the toy pile for future tries.
Speaking of,
I try to line up the crane just right, eyeing through the dusty glass from multiple angles to get a good idea of positioning.
now that I don't have you so anchored down, or however the fuck you want to see it as,
I pause, my paw over the lower button.
you let any other guys fuck you at Pueblo? Any big stallion types like the ones in your porn?
The tone in his voice is definitely one that I haven't heard in years. It seems to carry an extra intense edge. Christ, Leo, no!
You haven't had sex in 3 years? You must be really pent up, eh?
He laughs breathily. I excel, trying to keep my nerve. I go ahead and press the button, the crane lowering the claw down once again.
You don't have to lie to me, yeah? I just want the truth.
The claw pushes the box down further, it seeming to have different levels of how low it starts grasping. However, it doesn't even grasp this time. The crane just keeps lowering the claw. We can't even see the figurine anymore. Not that Leo is paying any attention.
If you like girls now, you can tell me.
I feel him now, his thighs against my behind, the familiar firmness upon the small of my back. I stare at the machine, the claw still hasn't come up yet. Leo. His paw takes my hip.
Hmm?
Can you fuck off?
What? Just real slow.
Wow. Leo's paws are off me now. The wolf turns to face the others.
How long have you two been here?
Long enough.
I was just trying to...
I thought you were better than this sort of behavior, Leo.
This was a private conversation, eh?
That Chase clearly didn't want to be a part of.
Well, I didn't know that until just now.
He looks back at me. His eyes are wide and his shoulders are raised up, the wolf visibly tense. I'm still reeling from what just happened, from Leo's behavior, from my own words. I say nothing. He sucks in his jowls, trying to put on a smile.
We found a present for Carl in this crane machine here. A lucha guy, yeah?
DJ leans to peer inside the machine.
I don't see it.
The claw and crane are back at their starting position.
Yeah, well, Chula here beside me must have buried it somehow.
Buried it?
You know what I mean, Tish.
He shrugs, visibly not knowing what Leo means. Jenna gives Leo a look I don't quite catch before stepping up to the machine. She squints, looking over the pile of toys. No. I see it. That green and purple cardboard thing in the middle beneath the Mothman plushie. She reaches into her purse, sifting through it for a moment before finding 2 quarters. We all just sort of stand there, staring at her as the lights flash around the window, illuminating her features with golden glow. She fiddles with it a lot longer than I did, 30 seconds passing before she actually hits the lower button. The claw descends, pushing through the mug of plush and plastic. The sound of metal scraping the box is audible, even if it's difficult to see what is happening. Out of the corner of my eye, I see that Leo's facade of a smile has completely dissipated. He looks at me, though his gaze is unfocused. It's like he's trying to numb himself, but it isn't working. The claw finally lifts, the metal tongs clutching the central mass of the figurine container and carrying it to the drop slot. With a satisfying clunk, the box falls in, and the crane returns to its default position. Leo's form stiffens. He stares at the machine, Jenna, and then me again. He crosses his arms, and I see his face start to shake, his eyes clenched shut.
I'll be in the fucking van.
As he leaves, Leo smacks a nearby pinball machine so hard the glass cracks. PJ stands there with his paws behind his head, all agape. And so, the real Leo reveals himself.
Oh my goodness.
TJ walks over to the pinball machine, bending down to gather up what splintered glass there is in the front of his shirt. I watch Leo trudge off around the corner, though I can still hear his heavy footfalls for a while after. I just wait a bit, just to make sure he's really gone. Jenna, meanwhile, steps up, handing me the boxed figurine. So, is there a crappy boardwalk game that you can't beat? Despite what just happened, I see a flicker of a smile tug at the corner of her lips. Well, all you have to do is hook the claw where the cardboard meets the plastic. Her gaze shifts from the broken glass on the tacky carpet to the crane machine. That way, it gets latched in the grooves of the box and doesn't drop. I had a lot of practice with my summer job, but you did most of the work for me by putting it into position. Good job. She moves past me, patting my back some before kneeling down beside TJ and helping him clean up. I turn to face her again. You should be the one to give it to Carl. After all, you're the one who won it for him. No. Then I'd be a hypocrite after what I said earlier about his clutter problem. He'll like this from you, though. Yeah, I guess. We should probably hurry before someone besides us decides to visit this mall. I peer around, checking to make sure that we're the only people in here, still. I see a coffee sitting on the service desk, so whoever is managing this place today might be back soon. And before Leo decides to drive off without us.
He wouldn't do that.
TJ gathers the glass from his shirt and places it in a small pile on the bench nearby. Jenna does the same. Yes, well, I'd rather not tempt the odds or the potential 30-mile outside city limits cab fare.
Should we leave some money for the pinball machine repair?
No, TJ, it's all right. None of us should have to deal with Leo's mess more than we already have. I rest my head against the passenger window as I balance the cheap fast food place red velvet cake in my lap. This is one of the most awkward car rides I've ever been in. Everyone is completely silent. TJ's previous attempts to lighten the mood having been received with idle grunts and nods. My stomach hurts and I have this nauseous feeling that keeps bubbling up when I think about what happened. Leo and I have squabbled in the past, sure, but never like this. Most of the time, we fought about video game shit, politics, and sports. The worst it ever got was when the topic of leaving Echo came up. I danced around answering it for as long as I could, and the truth came out in the worst way possible. Now is different. I never felt such contempt for him before, like I did when he pressed against me, interrogating me like I belonged to him. He probably thought I'd just bend over against the crane machine for old time's sake. Watching him from the corner of my eye now, I see him trying to keep his ears up, but they keep pinning back down. I'm stuck in this shitty feeling of being pissed at Leo and ashamed of myself. He shouldn't have acted that way, but I know I just hurt him in a manner that I haven't done in a long time. Being stuck in a car with someone who is thinking about you, and you're thinking about them, and you're both hurting, is hell. I really wish I brought my headphones. I stare out the window as we roll down the first dirt road into Echo. Every street, every corner, every trailer, and every tree has a memory attached to it. There, in the middle of the dusty parking lot that belonged to the corner market, is a tiny stand. That used to be where I'd get ice cream after begging for $1 from my parents. It's crumbled and boarded up now, the paint peeling off in tiny chips. And there, in front of Duke's house, is a big flat rock that Jenna was standing on when she told me she was going to run away from home. I can still remember almost exactly how she was silhouetted against the red sunset behind her. And the old train yard where I kissed Leo for the first time after staying up all night at our first real party. I look over at Leo. He's got one hand on the wheel, glancing up at the rearview mirror occasionally. He hasn't so much as looked at me since the family plex, though I see him staring at Jenna now. She catches his gaze, somehow returning it with an even more curt look. Carl probably still isn't even awake yet. Do you have a plan if he doesn't answer the door?
We'll call him then.
And what if he doesn't answer his phone? Will you shatter the window too? Leo's muzzle pulls into a snarl. I hear him mutter something I can't quite discern. He shifts focus back to the road, his knuckles tight on the steering wheel. TJ gives another go at trying to fill the silence.
Well, I don't think this will go too badly. It's just like we're hanging out again. Nothing wrong with that.
I agree, TJ. Though I do think this is perhaps a bit poorly planned, it should be an alright time. I haven't been to Carl's in so long. The car starts slowing down and I snap out of my daydreaming to look up, knowing that we definitely weren't at Carl's house yet. That's when I see a canine figure standing further up on the side of the road. She's standing in the dirt that separates the road and the field in front of a broken and rusted barbed wire fence.
I think that's Johnny's.
I look over at Leo and he seems concerned, his brows furrowed as he carefully steers the car right up next to the coyote. I can see why. She's crouched over, elbows on her knees, staring at the ground.
Roll down your window, Jess.
I do as he says, struggling a little with the old crank handle. What is she doing out here? We come to a stop next to the coyote, kicking up some dust.
I don't know. Hey!
TJ rolls down his window as well, waving.
Hi, Janice.
Leo leans over me and looks out at her. She's still looking at the ground.
Everything all...
Leo's voice cuts off in a weird choking sound. I look at him confused, then look back out the window and I can't help myself but I gasp. It was hard to tell from the angle and all the dust kicked up by the van, but now I can see that Janice has her pants down around her thighs. I can also see everything else. I sit back quietly and avert my eyes, looking out the windshield instead.
Is she...
Oh my God, Leo, keep going. Jenna whispers it, her voice strained.
Sorry,
Leo stops talking and I chance a glance out the window again. Janice is looking at us now, and she's smiling. It's a weird smile because it isn't touching her eyes. It's unnerving. Leo stares back. Leo, let's just go. I hiss out the side of my mouth, staring out the windshield again. He seems reluctant to, though, looking concerned. Jonas, do you need some help? His tone is one you might use on a toddler or a crazy person. I don't hear her say anything, except maybe a grunt. Leo bravely keeps trying, though. We can give you a... Leo stops talking in time for me to hear a pattering sound, a sound I recognize well from being a kid pissing on the dirt roads of Echo. The van lurches forward, then resumes a smoother acceleration back onto the empty road. What in God's name?
I don't know.
Leo's frowning, looking as confused as I've ever seen him.
Should I go back?
No!
I look back and see TJ covering his face. Maybe she's having some kind of psychotic episode.
Maybe she just really had to go? I'm like that after a ton of caffeine sometimes.
TJ, I'm fairly certain you haven't peed yourself in front of anyone since Mrs. Mueller's Thanksgiving play. And you certainly weren't smiling at the audience while you were at it.
Oh, please don't talk about that now.
I don't think so. Did you see the way she looked at me?
She was probably just on something, isn't everyone?
No, she doesn't do stuff like that.
Well, maybe she does. You don't know with people. Again, Leo doesn't say anything, and neither does anyone else. We don't go back. And he's not here. Leo stabs the doorbell again, frustration etched across his face. I shift the red velvet cake in my grasp, trying to hold both it and the Lucha figurine. Not really wanting to do more shopping after the incident, Jenna, TJ, and Leo had just bought Peyton fast food as gifts. Carl doesn't get out to Peyton much, so the three took it upon themselves to buy from 3 different locations. Leo got a couple large and juicy vegan burgers. TJ got those tofu tacos that are made from nacho cheese chips. And Jenna got him a bread bowl. I squint, trying to look through the frosted glass on the sides of the door. Maybe he's getting high? He should still be able to hear. I mean, maybe he just doesn't want to. TJ holds up his phone.
He's not answering his phone either.
Leo knocks on the door hard, his bicep bulging. I could be studying, Chase could be finishing his project, and you and Flynn could be at work right now. Instead, we're doing this. Flynn leans back against his truck a couple yards away, briefly canting his head in Jenna's direction as his name is mentioned.
You know, I may be remiss to mention this, but you all are 6 shades extra bitchy today.
Leo stands back, paws on his waist as he takes a deep breath. His eyes have a sheened, bleary quality to them. Anytime Jenna speaks, it seems like he's wrought to near-twitching levels of anger. All of Leo's plans to bring everyone together have had the opposite effect so far.
Do they lock their windows?
What?
Leo growls.
It's not like we're breaking in.
TJ's ears pin back, a frown on his face. Wolf puts his fist to his forehead, closing his eyes.
I think he's just asleep, and it shouldn't be too hard to just get in there and wake him up.
I look over at the side of the house and see a window well. I point at it. What about that?
Too small.
I could probably fit. She hops off the front porch and crouches down next to the window, pushing at it. Wait, there's a security sticker here. Jenna hesitates, then pushes at the window again, but it doesn't bulge. Locked.
Then try the one above it.
That's too high.
I think this is going a little too far.
I'll boost you up. You think you're strong enough for that? Well, you look like you've lost weight recently. Jenna turns, giving me a quizzical expression. Smooth. She does smile after a moment, looking more bemused than anything. I see her bushy tail flick some behind her. You know, some girls might take that as an insult. Are you one of said girls? No, I get the meaning of your words, and that's where it's flattering regardless. Oh, well, good, I guess.
What the fuck is happening?
I set the cake and figurine down on the gravel and move behind Jenna, cupping my paws together in front of me for her foot. Steadying herself with her paws against the wall of the house, Jenna steps into my paws. Slowly, I push up, feeling my muscles strain beneath my fur.
Fucking hell, this is so fucking stupid.
There is a light click, and I see Jenna pushing open the top window with ease. Good, now I'm gonna try to boost you all the way up, alright? Your arm's doing okay? Yeah, peachy. Her tail flicks again, and I get a mouthful of fur. Sorry. Like we're some kind of cheerleading duo, I shove Jenna as high as I can with both paws. She grabs the ledge and I feel the weight burden lift as she dangles against the side of the house.
Careful, don't fall!
Her bushtail is the last thing we see until she pokes her head back through. Kitchen, I fell in the sink.
Okay, unlock the door now.
She just appears again. We make our way back to the front door.
Leo, why didn't you help? You're the fucking muscle here.
If you don't shut your fucking mouth, Flynn, I'll use my muscles and kick you right in your vag. Sound good?
Jesus, calm your...
Leo turns on him, one foot in front of the other. Flynn shuts up. TJ, meanwhile, has his eyes upon the wall in front of him. Usually, he's all smiles when we're gathered like this, even through the swearing and crude stuff. Right now, his eyes just look sort of vacant, like earlier at the mall. Finally, we hear the door rattling and it opens. Called his name, but he didn't answer.
Well, he's gotta be here. It's not like he can go anywhere, or would want to.
I pick up my stuff and head inside. Carl's house is as massive and immaculate as I remember it. It is a mansion, after all. Well, maybe less immaculate than I remember. There are a few wrappers and pizza boxes on the marble counter. I assume that's because Carl's parents aren't here to tell him to not be a slob. Glenn immediately heads up the stairs.
Yo, Carl!
Jenna stands in the kitchen, her paws on her hips as she looks around. Strange being back, isn't it? Like in general, or... She shrugs.
Carl!
I hear the others scampering around the house, Leo moving out to the backyard. TJ, meanwhile, checks the garage. She pulls out her cell phone, tapping at it a few times. It is very faint, but I can hear a distant vibrating sound somewhere in the house. Jenna turns and I follow, stepping past the spacious living room. I didn't know it was possible, but it looks like Carl's parents got an even bigger TV, since I was last here. Carl's room looks pretty damn similar to how I remember it. Though usually, he makes at least a mild effort to pick up after himself when I'm coming over. There is so much dirty laundry and trash scattered about, I can hardly see the carpet. God. It smells like Leo's glove box in here.
I wonder why.
Jenna gives me a slight scrunched-nosed look, pauses, then nods acceptingly. She pulls out her phone, calling Carl's number again. This time, the vibration is much closer, a rattling sound audible as the device vibrates against a wood surface. Still, it sounds kind of muffled. It sounds like it's coming from one of his drawers. Ordinarily, I'd be vehemently against rifling through one's personal stuff, but this is a special circumstance. I'm not going to stop you. Jenna starts pulling open drawers in the dresser, while I check out the desk. I feel guilty doing it, but there is sort of a thrill to be had in snooping about like this. I start stumbling upon old comics that I had given Carl myself back when we were kids, the corners dog-eared to all hell. The next drawer looks to be chock full of portable gaming system stuff, including all of his cartridges just scattered about. I remember every day on the bus I'd sit next to Carl just to play, because his parents bought him all the expensive devices. I'd always guilt him by saying that he could play at home whenever he wanted, so he usually let me play the whole ride from Echo to Peyton. Find it yet? I blink, then shake my head, checking the next drawer. No, but... Well, that's a fleshlight. A bolt hole one, too. What? I shut the drawer, trying not to think about it too much. Nothing. Well, I found it. I spin around, moving to Jenna's side. It looks like she grabbed it from somewhere wedged between Carl's bed and the window. Does it have a lock on it? No, it doesn't. Carl's parents have always been really good about respecting privacy, yeah? How fortunate for him. Jenna swipes through the Messenger tab, though for some reason, now she keeps the screen out of sight from me. Her brow raises at something and she pauses. What? What is it? She quickly shakes her head. Nothing relevant. She returns to tapping about again. I can hear the others still calling for Carl, so I guess they haven't found him yet. Again, she is wrought to pause. Are you going to tell me what's up this time? She stares. So, apparently Carl took a picture last night. There's a disconcerting look in her eye, which tells me this is different than just another picture of Carl's ass. Okay. She holds up the phone for me to see. I stare at the sunlight reflected upon the ceiling above me. Its pale golden hue is gradually shifted to a more amber tone as dusk nears.
Uh-huh. We showed up at around, 2-ish? Yeah, I would usually be at work, but I took time off for Leo's party plan.
The patter of Flynn's feet is audible behind me as he paces back and forth upon the tile floor. Glancing over the edge of the couch, his gaze is fixed upon the ground in front of him, the phone cupped against the side of his head.
What? He's in the kitchen now, using a coffee machine. All of the old gang is here. To repeat, the alarm wasn't armed. Carl usually doesn't set it. We got in through the top window above the kitchen sink.
Ken points toward the aforementioned window despite currently explaining it on the phone. Leo stands motionless in front of the kitchen window, facing away from us.
Well, Jenna did. Then unlocked the front door for the rest of us. Wasn't my idea, again. Place is kinda messy, but we didn't see any signs of anything broken into. Jewelry in the bedroom dresser? Give me a sec, I'll check. Speaking of, here she is.
Flynn hands the phone off to Jenna before heading upstairs again. She uncrosses her legs and stands up slightly, pausing for a moment as she listens to Carl's father on the other end of the line. Yes, Mr. Hendricks, it has been a while since we've last spoken. 5 or 6 years, actually. I go by Jenna now, yes. Instead of pacing like Flynn, she moves over toward me. She rests herself against the arm of the couch by my head. Her expression shifts some, but I can't see much due to the sun glare coming through the windows and the angle she is above me. My brother? Actually, yes. When I went through his phone, it showed that they had texted earlier that day. Yes, it does appear Carl was buying weed from him. She was quiet now, listening. I can hear Carl's father on the other end now, meaning his voice is a bit raised. I turn on my side, propping my head up with an elbow on the armrest and attempt to read her expression. Jenna doesn't appear fazed. She doesn't look at me either. Mr. Hendricks. The voice on the other end continues. The high-pitched rasp of Carl's father's voice is still audible a minute later. There are pauses in what he says. There are pauses in what he's saying, but Jenna doesn't interject. Finally, there is a pause of around 5 seconds before I can hear a quieter, "Are you still there?" coming through. Yes, Mr. Hendricks. At this point, I'm going to file a missing persons report with the county sheriff's office, citing the image I sent you from Carl's phone. Looking over, Carl's phone sits upon the coffee table, the red-eyed image still displayed. Something about it seems so familiar, yet exactly why escapes me, like fleeting déjà vu. It makes me uneasy, even without the context of our current situation, which makes it worse. It hasn't been the minimum 24 hours, but as you said, the fact that his phone, wallet, and all your other vehicles are accounted for is worrisome. She waits, listening. I'm going to tell the police that we were given the go-ahead to come and go from the building during the week. If you could confirm that when the sheriff's office calls you later, that'd make things easier on us while we keep up the search effort. Do you and Mrs. Hendricks have any recommendations on that front, regarding where he could have gone off to? She reaches over and I feel her paw move beneath my tufted chin. Her fingers scritch along my jawline and my eyes begin to lull. I don't know why I'm still so tired. Mm-hmm. I look up at her, though her gaze still doesn't meet mine. She continues to pet me, eventually reaching up to ruffle my head scruff. It rouses me from my lulled state and I blink up at her. She covers the phone with her free paw, muttering to me, "Hey, wake up. Can you go see if TJ made any progress upstairs?" "Oh, yeah, sure thing." Hearing the telltale thuds of Flynn's heavy-footed gait upon the terracotta stairway, I glance up. He returns, shaking his head.
Shit's still there.
Jenna nods, seeming to ignore the now strange look that Gila is giving us. I sit upright. I think Miss Hendricks is giving us some advice of where to look. Jenna again nods in confirmation, though Flynn still peers at us with a furrowed brow.
Were this any other time, I'd have some shit to say right now.
He sighs, nostrils flaring. I lean forward, taking hold of Carl's phone and peering at the image again up close. I'm going to check out some of his messages myself and see if I can find anything. The cell phone is plucked from my grasp, Flynn standing above me.
Jenna and I already looked through that. Now you're just wasting time being a snoopy shit.
Flynn's emerald gaze briefly flicks to Jenna, then back down to me. Surprisingly, Jenna nods in agreement, then motions to the stairs. We got this, Chase. Like I said, you'll see how TJ's progress is going. She looks to Flynn with a sort of stern, knowing expression before responding to something on the phone. Well, the convenience store is a few miles from here. Does he usually walk that far? My cheeks burn at the scolding, and I rise to a stand. Turning to leave, I can still see Leo standing unmoving in the kitchen. He's like a photograph, a still image silhouetted in contrast to the fading sun through the window. It's weird. Usually Leo is the one who jumps into action with this sort of situation. Or at least he did when we were kids. De facto group leader and whatnot. Now, though, since we found out Carl was missing a couple hours ago, he's been pretty resigned. Hell, Flynn and Jenna have been the ones coordinating everything so far. He glances over his shoulder, the first bit of movement I've seen him do in about 15 minutes. I can see his red eyes from here. He's staring right at me. I feel myself walking over, despite myself. Flynn and Jenna busy talking with Mr. Hendricks over the speakerphone now. I enter the kitchen and approach him. Hey.
Cool.
A silence lingers between us. So, Carl.
Yeah.
You know where he might be?
Of course. I'm just not telling anybody, 'cause I like all this quality time we're having, eh?
Leo, this is serious. Jenna's about to call the sheriff.
Yeah? Good. 2 birds, 1 stone.
He holds up his phone, a notification on the screen I can't quite read.
Got a call from Mariana back at my parents' house. The police were checking to see if I was there.
What? My brow raises. I try to study Leo's expression, but he's stony as hell right now, his jaw set in near constant grit.
Familyplex got my plates from the security camera things in the parking lot, I'm guessing.
I sigh, rubbing my forehead. I'm about to open my mouth and say something, though I catch a sort of strange, empty look in Leo's eyes that brings me to pause. I decide against my scolding and instead move beside him, taking one of Carl's mugs and pouring myself a cup of coffee from the coffee maker. It's one of those fancy ones that has an espresso maker built in and a basket next to the machine with at least 30 different flavored cups. The flavors are mostly dessert-based, with labels like salted caramel, frosted oatmeal cookie, cinnamon churro, and truffle sundae. They sound pretty damn delicious, as far as I know. Carl only drinks energy drinks, and usually obscene quantities of them. After taking a sip, the bitter scald hits my tongue and I find myself reflexively reeling before getting a chance to swallow. Despite having all these choices available, it looks like Leo went for straight black. Leo's gaze shifts back to me and I see him prick a white brow.
Damn fine cup of coffee, eh, Chula?
I managed to swallow without sputtering too much, putting on a slight artsy flair to my tone. Black as a moonless eve at midnight, just how I like it. He smiles, though it's a visibly pained expression which he obscures behind his own cup as he drinks.
I bet at university, all you drink are those rainbow frappuccinos I saw on the news.
I remember when those came out. My dorm is by the library, and the coffee shop in there was selling them, The line was insane, and they sold out super quick. My friend, Vincent, he's a barista there. He tells me it's just mango juice, sprinkles, white cream, frappe syrup, and food coloring.
Oh, that's the same Vincent from all the photos you've been uploading recently, yeah? The other wolf guy?
I can see where this is going from a mile away. I take another drink of my coffee despite the bitterness.
I mean, the pictures, they just pop up on my timeline, yeah? I keep seeing them pop up.
Yeah, same guy.
Ah, I hear ya.
There's a pause, and I change the topic. Are you going to turn yourself in to the sheriff?
Not yet.
He responds quickly.
Gotta find Carl. And I think a wolf who's known the horned fucker his whole life can sniff him out better than some overpaid Maulco, eh?
Will be more trouble for you if Sheriff Maulco, assuming that's who's still in charge, finds you first. Leo sighs with a frustrated gravelly rasp, his gaze flicking down to the kitchen floor.
You sound like Jenna.
It's probably because what I'm saying makes sense. Wolf looks up, his bug-eyed gaze focused upon me as if he were searching for something.
This damn get-together has gone more badly than I could have ever predicted, you know?
I nod, not disagreeing with that sentiment in the slightest.
First fleeing at the river, then that shit at the family plex, and now Carl's nowhere to be found. This may all be the worst shit, yeah? But I wouldn't ever be able to forgive myself if I gave up the last chance I had to ever spend time with you guys again, you know?
He sets his coffee down, his paws gripping the back of the countertop. Leo, come on. We'll see each other again.
You don't know that. Jenna's moving all the way to the East Coast. DJ out of the country, probably. And you? After what happened at the family plex, you probably don't want to see me ever again either, eh?
There's a serious intensity to the cadence of his voice, as if something is practically choking him as he speaks those last few words. The air even feels weird. I think for a moment about what to say, still processing Leo's response. Looking around, I spot an old black beanie hanging upon the coat rack by the door, and remember something. Carl once told me something back when I said you were becoming too cool for us in high school, with football and stuff. You know, back when you stopped riding the bus and just spent all your time after school at practice with the jock kids? He said that after all the shit that we've been through, none of the present petty drama stuff matters, yeah? I mean, sure, I'm kind of skeeved, but it doesn't mean I hate you forever.
Just hate me temporarily, then?
I sigh. You still haven't even said sorry or anything, man.
Why would I say sorry when it's fucking Jenna who showed up and ruined everything, yeah?
Are you serious? I told you to fuck off too.
Why?
Why? Jesus Christ, man. You were grinding on me 15 feet away from the fucking kitty corner.
You used to do that sort of horny shit to me all the time. Now you're different.
He gesticulates with a swirling motion toward me using both of his paws. Well, I guess I am. That's sort of the point about why it's fucked up. Leo blinks, his shoulders raised high. He begins to speak faster and with more of his old accent seeping through.
You didn't even tell me you was uncomfy or nothing. Just told me straight up to fuck off.
I felt it appropriate at the time, man.
This is why I didn't want you to leave Echo Otter.
It isn't like things were great here between you and I before I left either.
Because Jenna got to you.
What are you talking about?
We had it all planned out. A house, a car, a job waiting for you at my dad's shop. The life we talked about since we were little. Then Jenna started talking to you all about Pueblo and how you should go. The hell with us, hick trash. We're better than them, yeah?
Leo.
And then she came up with that fucking prank.
I see his fist shake and instantly know what he's talking about. You broke my phone.
You broke my heart, Wichita. For fuck's sake, shut up.
Flynn steps into the kitchen and I realize I can still hear the faint sound of Jenna on the phone with Mr. Hendricks in the other room.
Well, you two fuckers are having a domestic. Carl's getting reamed by the Mothman. Or whatever that red-eyed shit is on his phone.
Leo steps forward, his jaws curled back into a snarl.
Get out of here, Flynn.
Surprisingly, Flynn holds his ground. The lizard squeezes his fists against his chest and stomach as Leo approaches, reflexively defending himself in case swung upon.
We don't have time for this shit.
Leo stares hard at him, his shoulders raised and his fur bristling. Flynn flinches some. It reminds me of how Leo acted toward him at the river. I'm starting to wonder if this is how Leo treats Flynn when we're not here. Leo, what the hell are you doing? Calm down, all right? I'm still fuming from what Leo said, but even I know this bickering is petty in contrast to the problem at hand. A solid 10 seconds of silence pass, neither of the two tall figures budging an inch. Finally, Leo steps forward, shoulder-checking Flynn hard enough that he stumbles back against the wall.
Gonna find Carl myself.
Flynn sputters angrily, Leo muttering some string of swears as he heads towards the door.
At least tell me where you're going to look so we know where not to go.
Leo pauses, his hand on the door handle.
Danica Street to Elizabeth Road. South to north. Great. Good luck.
The door slams behind me, and the heavy thuds of his feet on gravel outside. He's gone. I look down and realize that I'm shaking. Even if it had been years, an argument like that with someone who basically defined my childhood and my teenage years as a way of hurting deep. That stupid fucking prank. I try to refocus, making my way over toward the knocked over Flynn and offering him my paw. You okay, man? He glares up at me for a second, then takes my grasp and pulls himself up. The lizard weighs a ton, though, nearly pulling me down with him.
Just go help TJ already. Gonna check the basement again.
He dusts off his front and begins fiddling with his shirt collar, walking off back toward the stairwell before I can respond. Through the window, I can see Leo outside. He's down the road a ways, past his van. He's talking to someone. I see the figure he's talking to point toward the house we're in, and Leo crosses his arms. It can't be the sheriff already, can it? Moving to the window to get a closer look, I can see that the figure is a weasel. Duke. Jesus, I haven't seen him in years. I used to see him around on his porch a lot back when I visited Leo's place near Daly. As far as I remember, he was a loner type, occasionally getting involved with civic stuff and the mayor. I have a vague memory of him being married to a younger lady when I was a kid, but I don't remember seeing her after first grade. His interactions with me were always pretty brief, not much to judge a personality by. Now, though, he is pointing at the house, speaking loudly, though I can't discern what he's saying. Leo just looks angrier, his tail stiff. Despite the range, I can practically feel the old fellow's gaze shifting, meeting mine through the window. His pointing hand shifts, now aimed directly at me. I reflexively blink, stepping back. When my eyes refocus, there is a plume of dust in the air. Duke is on his back in the middle of the road, and Leo is quickly marching back toward his van. What the hell? Duke is already back on his feet, sprinting now away from Carl's house. His mouth is still moving. He's saying something. Leo's van peels out of the driveway, gravel kicking up in its wake. Within a few seconds, he's out of sight as well. Jesus. Walk over to the door, locking it once again just to be safe. Left alone, I head out of the kitchen. As I walk past the living room, I overhear the low rasp of Flynn's voice, his tone serious.
And then the fucker shoved me. You said he was pulling the shit at the mall too?
Mm-hmm. I talked to Chase if you wanted more details.
To think he just had to pick this day of all days to fucking snap.
Flynn rubs the tip of his snout. His slitted eyes narrowed until they spot me. Then he just looks back to Jenna.
Let's call Maulco now.
Right. Flynn begins to dial for the sheriff. Jenna looks toward the door, then to me. We'll talk later, Chase, okay? If you want, of course. I pause, having been about to head upstairs. Oh yeah, sure thing. She smiles at me, despite everything.
Oh, hey!
TJ rises up from Carl's computer chair, clearly forcing a smile as he sees me. He's clutching his cell phone to his chest. TJ?
Yeah?
Are you okay?
No.
TJ sinks back down into the chair. Pricking a brow, I move one of Carl's console gaming chairs over toward the computer area. TJ slides his cell phone back into his pocket.
I'm worried about Carl.
We all are. We're calling the police, and hopefully they can help us, yeah?
I know, it's just that image on the phone. You know? The picture Carl took?
Yeah, it's, spooky. Spooky doesn't begin to describe my initial thoughts regarding it, but this is TJ I'm speaking to, so gentle words and all.
Yeah.
One of his canines sinks into his lower lip, the lengths chewing on it nervously. Maybe it's a screenshot of something he had on his monitor? We could check his history in recent documents to make sure. Have you already checked all that? His face flashes with a guilty expression.
No, there's a password required to log in.
Oh, yeah. The new version of these operating systems makes you log in with your email account. It's dumb. I pause, thinking for a moment, then scoot a little closer to the keyboard. May I? TJ blinks, taking him a second to understand.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He rolls to the side and I pull the keyboard closer to me. Clicking the mouse brings up the generic login window. The username Blaze Ice is visible. When we were younger, Carl and I used to play a lot of free-to-play MMO-type games. I convinced him to give me his password once, saying that I'd grind XP for him while he was on vacation with his parents. In reality, asshole me sent his rare party hat item to my character. I tried to tell him that the game devs deleted the item from the game, but I don't think he believed me. God, I was a shitty 10-year-old.
Oh, hey, that worked.
Yep, kinda surprised he's still using the same old password. But kinda not at the same time.
Carl isn't one much for change, right? Anyway, what should we look through first?
TJ scoots closer, his chin practically on my shoulder. I have to shift my head some so that his whiskers don't brush my cheek. His messenger, I guess.
Huh. I don't recognize most of these names.
I see you and me on here. Most of these others outside our group are his online friends.
It's good to know that he's still being social and meeting people after we left.
Well, besides the names of people in our group, these look to be all online people. I played Vox Desparis multiplayer with Carl and that Lucha Lecha guy before. He lives on the other side of the planet practically.
I wonder if he still talks to Heather.
I hope not. There's a brief silence.
Flynn messaged him earlier, though. I see a 1 next to his name. But I don't think he wants us reading that. He didn't want anyone looking through Carl's phone after he and Jenna were looking at it.
I think Flynn might have been venting to Carl about what happened at the river pretty hard-like. TJ's face briefly scrunches as if flinching in response to that information. I move to click on Flynn's name, but TJ stops me.
No!
Blinking, I look over toward a wide-eyed TJ, who seems to be now recoiling from his own abrupt interruption. What?
Sorry. I just think we shouldn't pry into that, if he didn't want us to see it.
To be honest, Glenn being so cagey about his contact with Carl just makes me more curious. However, if what little stuff Flynn said to TJ to his face was enough to leave him shaken and distraught, I can't imagine what seeing the stuff he didn't say would do. All right. I scoot back to the side a little, letting TJ take the mouse. He still looks pretty guilty for snapping at me. Let's check his browser history.
Okay.
TJ moves the cursor down to the star-like symbol on the taskbar. Huh, okay. Weed, hauntings, porn, video games, movie reviews, job search stuff, and Let's Plays. I guess pretty par for the course with regards to Carl. Nothing too unusual, but TJ moves the cursor to the Futa Factory link. I gently yet assertively place my paw on TJ's own and move the cursor elsewhere. It's a store for special couches.
Isn't it called a futon?
No. Look, the browsing history stops right before midnight.
And the picture on Carl's phone was taken around that time, right?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
It is. Let's keep looking. Try recent files. TJ nods, closing the browser and hesitating for a moment before clicking the most recent file titled carl.doc.
A resume?
Looks like it.
Heh. I remember the Easy Mart. I'm still a little upset that it shut down.
I mean, it's no surprise why, TJ.
Yeah, it was just nice to have local food back when we were kids. The convenience store just isn't the same.
The dietary choices available to people here are now really limited, unless they drive all the way to Peyton.
A food desert, I think it's called.
Plus, it was nice to see Carl there working. He seemed to enjoy that place. Because he got to slack off the whole time, and there were barely any customers. But I get what you're saying. His anxiety about being around people wasn't nearly as bad back then. TJ nods, smiling sadly. I bet Jenna could help him. You know she's not actually trained to be a psychologist, right? Her studies are more neuro-med-techy.
Oh, I know. She's a really good listener, though.
I nod. It's her big ears.
Chase!
I snicker, TJ shaking his head and closing the resume. He moves to open the next document on the list, titled F space 129768.jpg. What the?
Oh,
That's my old profile picture I drew for computer class back in the 4th grade.
wow, really? It does look familiar, kind of.
Yeah, I used it back when we all made social media accounts.
My mom made me delete mine when I got home.
That was probably for the best. There was a lot of drama around how that site made you pick your top 8 friends and you ranked them like that. A lot of feelings were hurt and such.
That sounds awful. And I think I remember some of it. Sydney didn't ever add me.
TJ's gaze shifts for a moment. I'm wondering why he has this saved and why he was looking at it yesterday.
Maybe spending time together again made him sentimental? I still watch some of the funny movies we made with your camera back then. Your voice used to crack so much.
I feel the sting of embarrassment rise from my neck to my cheeks. Oh man, I need to delete those.
No, don't. They were really good. As silly as they are, you were really good at making them.
I grunt, waving dismissively. Just open the next file, TJ.
I really liked the one where you used that editing software to make a twin of yourself. I think the plot was one of the twins was a detective and the other was a criminal, both trying to solve their father's murder. And they had superpowers.
I was more ambitious than I probably should have been with that project. TJ, just click the next one.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
TJ clicks the next file, labeled 092220008.png. That's from the trip we took to the reservation. Back in, like, freshman year of high school? Jeez.
Look at you two. You were so little. Carl was just getting his beard.
I think we were both just getting used to high school at the time, and that was taken during Thanksgiving.
It's surprising to see Carl smiling in a photo.
It's surprising to see something of Carl other than his butt in a photo.
I wish you wouldn't send me those.
There's only one item left on the list of files that were last opened yesterday. It titled tocarl.png. Wait a second. That sounds familiar. TJ looks at me curiously, then clicks it. Oh, wow. I emailed this to Carl months ago.
Photos like this make me wish I went with you guys to Pueblo.
Yeah, I wish you went too, TJ. I was actually trying to convince Carl to come back and try again, with a different major. His parents really wanted him to stay away from art degrees, which is what he really wants to do. TJ looks like he is about to respond, but his left ear perks. His attention shifts toward the doorway. I hear the sound of thuds against carpet out in the hall, and I half expect to see Carl round the corner and ask what the hell we're doing. Instead, Jenna steps in, her turquoise eyes already trained on a computer monitor. She moves closer, leaning over me, squinting at the screen. I remember that. First year at Pueblo. Your parents had just dropped you off. I was wondering what the heck you had on your chin at the time. Oh, yeah. You hadn't seen me with facial scruff yet. I never took you for the soul patch kind of guy, honestly. It's a goatee. It's kind of small for one, don't you think? I frown, reactively reaching up and touching the scruff at the end of my chin.
It was kind of weird, but now I'm used to seeing it.
I frown deeper. TJ blinks, giving me an apologetic look. I try to refocus the conversation. Carl is missing. He is. Why are you looking at old pictures?
These were the files he was looking at yesterday.
And we checked his browser history. His online activity stopped just before midnight and didn't never resume. Anything unusual there?
I think he was looking to buy a futa.
Jenna stands there staring at TJ with a deadpan expression. After about 5 seconds, she looks at me expectantly. He means a futon.
But you said...
No, nothing out of the ordinary. Okay, well, I'll be sure to let the sheriff know when she gets here. Glenn steps in the room besides Jenna. Usually the Gila has a bit of a case of resting bitch face, but right now he looks downright sour.
Alright, let's figure out who's going to look where. Wolf Boy has made the decision to go check the roads Elizabeth through Danica. Jace, you've got Margarita Lane through Tetanus Alley, Jasmine Street. I'm giving you more since you've got a car. I'll take Gretchen Way through the beginning part of Route 65 in my truck. TJ, you like hiking. We need you to check around the hills and old nature trails around here, all the way down to the lake.
TJ stiffens, and the feeling in the room seems to cool drastically. Only if you're comfortable doing that, okay? We just want to be thorough.
I'm fine. I'll be fine. I just want Carl to be okay.
Jenna nods, offering TJ a reassuring smile. Just text us while you're out. I'll most likely be free since I'll be keeping watch here at the house. TJ smiles back sheepishly.
Okay.
Before you scat off to your respective places, I found some weird shit in the basement.
Glenn holds up his fingers, there being some white chalky substance upon them.
At the entrance to the crawlspace, there was a bunch of hoop prints, dents in the wall, and plaster everywhere. Like Carl was headbutting the damn thing. There's nothing I can see in there, though. My theory is that Jeremy gave him bad weed, laced with some shit, and now Carl is on a real bad trip. Which is why I need you to talk to Jeremy when you get to Jasmine, Chase.
He looks sidelong toward Jenna.
Jasmine Street, I mean.
I feel a chill crawl up my spine. Jeremy, and especially his friends, made my life hell during most of my childhood, especially after the lake incident. Most of them were native inhabitants of Jasmine Street. If it wasn't for Leo stepping in, things would have been even worse. You can text me too, Chase. She seems to have read the look on my face. I swallow hard and try to look casual. Okay. Glenn rolls his eyes so hard, I can't see his pupils for a moment. Pausing, I remember something. I saw Leo get into an argument with Duke outside the house earlier. Duke kept pointing at it and was saying something to him. Whatever Duke said, it was enough for Leo to push him to the ground and drive off. Knowing Leo's minimum threshold for violent turns, probably, hello. Glenn seems to soften a bit at that comment, looking sidelong to hide his smirk before returning to his more hardened expression. But in seriousness, that is concerning. I'll also relay this information to Sheriff Maulco when she gets here. I'll text Leo and try to figure out what he wanted. Good plan. Glenn immediately heads out without another word. TJ hesitates a little, fidgeting with something on the computer, but gets up and leaves as well. I'm about to follow suit, but Jenna stops me, her paw on my shoulder. Hey, if Jeremy asks about me, you don't need to lie and say I'm not here or anything, okay? Oh, okay, I understand. She lowers her paw, recrossing her arms over her chest. We'll talk later, yeah? Mm-hmm. feel like I'm lingering to the point of awkwardness now. Good luck. You too. With a clearing of my throat, I shuffle my way out. I take the bend out of Mary Drive, trying to squint through dust kicked up by my vehicle past the sagebrush ahead. Carl isn't exactly small or stealthy, so if he's around here, I should be able to see him. The more I drive, the more I start to notice how little maintenance the dirt roads receive out here. My tires kick up topsoil and gravel. The divots mar the surface and jolt me in my seat. Unlike Flynn's truck or Leo's van, my little clunker isn't meant for these sorts of roads. I can practically feel my maintenance bill growing. As I approach the turn off the Jasmine Street, I pull over to the side of the road. I reach back into my shorts and take my wallet, placing it in the glove box and locking it just in case. Stepping out of the vehicle, a cool sweat begins to form along my neck, and I have to remind myself that I'm 21. We're all adults. I can drink. I have a car. I live by myself. And Carl is in trouble. As I walk through the clearing of dry bush, I'm reminded of the last time I was here. I had a fight with my parents. I think it was over my grades or Leo or something. Eventually, I had enough of being yelled at and took off for a generic teenage angst walk. My MP3 player was with me at the time, so I had put my earbuds in and had the emo core cranked up. Hours passed and it was like I wasn't even awake, just meandering through the desert bleary-eyed and directionless. I must have ended up on Jasmine because the abandoned school was nearby. I remember stopping to kick a rubber tire or something, and before I could, an arm appeared. It was furless, sort of pinkish, and incredibly long. It just sort of showed up in the corner of my vision, stretching out in front of me, like someone was trying to hug me from behind. The music on my MP3 player had stopped, and there was a complete absence of sound besides the ringing in my ears. For some reason I still don't understand. I didn't move. Maybe I was too scared. But I did speak. All I could say was, "Hey!" And then someone hit me over the back of the head and called me a cocksucker. They tried to take my MP3 player too, but I was clutching it so tightly at that point they couldn't get me to release it. No matter how many times they hit me in the head. I ended up telling Leo about it later, and he basically forbade me from ever going near Jasmine Street again. He kept asking who did it. I told him I didn't know, but Leo thought I was just trying to keep him from harm. He went on a big speech about how where he comes from, if somebody did this shit to a man's significant other, they'd be fucking dead. I was tired and my head hurt, so I asked him how well that philosophy was working out for everyone in his home country. That just made him even angrier, and he kept going on about he's supposed to be the protector of us all. Hell, he even name-dropped Sydney to help prove his point. Someone he almost never brings up because it kills the good mood. I come to a stop at the edge of the clearing. The street sign on the corner of the base of the hill confirms my location. Jasmine Street. Also known as Tetanus Alley, if you ask Flynn. No wonder Jenna changed her name. I make a point to keep my tail from touching the ground, just occasionally checking the path ahead for shattered glass. Looking through the shattered windows of abandoned manufactured homes and littered hilltops, I can't imagine Carl in a place like this. Approaching Jenna's old house, I take stock of how it aged poorly. It's stucco, unlike most of the other trailers about. But it hasn't seen a good coat of paint in at least a decade. The lawn is overgrown with weeds, and old convenience store wrappers lay entangled within the grass. Even as little kids, we never played here, Jenna would always insist we go to Leo's or my house. Listening in and peering through the torn screen windows, I can see that no one is home. Moving on around the back, I hear some chatter behind the half-demolished home next door. Some familiar voices stand out instantly. I keep out of sight behind the debris. No, it wasn't like that. Heather says this in a babyish whine, practically a coo. There's a rasp to her speaking voice that I don't remember her having. You lit up with him all day in that shed, and you're saying you didn't do that? No. He was really, really sweet. I mean, he had an accent and everything. What kind of accent? That voice I don't recognize. It's sort of gravelly, but artificial. Like someone trying to make their voice sound deeper than it is. You know, the Hispanic ones. Is that still, PC to say? Because my cousin was telling me off fierce, like, for using that other word. You called Josh a spick, Heather? But I meant it in a good way, Like when I call you my night rat. You can call me whatever the fuck you want, Heather. Just don't be throwing that shit around when Jerry's trying to sell. Chill, dude. You still bought from me. How much? It's in the book. You might not next time. Dude. Ever since you got back, you're so much more assertive. The unknown voice doesn't respond. Jeremy speaks up again. So, what happened with Juan? We just talked, He wants to be a baker. He said next time we meet, he'll bring me some guava campechanas. Those are those apple turnover looking things, right? God, I'm hungry. Oh, that sounds so good, Jeremy. Why'd you have to bring up apple turnovers? Well, that's sort of what campechanas are. You brought them up, Heather. Jeremy laughs in his trademark bassy and abrupt titter. Are you gonna give Juan your cherry pie next time you see him too? What? Huh? I don't know how to cook. I don't even have a stove. Fuck me. The voice groans. It's slang for vagina. A slice of cherry pie. I wouldn't put that junk in my vagina that looked like a slice of cherry pie. You're gross. What? He said it. You both are. Heather says this with a snooty flair, though it's subverted by her voice's more dopey, childish undertone. I need to get out of this town. You haven't even been back that long. Are you upset about the dreams again? Yeah, the dreams and shit are getting worse. But it's the other stuff too, okay? You just need to relax, dude. Smoke some, That's what works for me when I get 'em. I'm not trying to use up the stuff I'm trying to sell. I gotta save up, Everyone around here seems to be losing their shit more than usual. Plus that fucking bear leering around here all the time. Brian keeps pushing me to sell this cut injectable stuff. Won't tell me what it is. Really? There's a pause in the conversation. Keith wants to say hi to his mom before work. What? Keith wants to say hi to his mom before work. Heather. Keith wants to say hi to his mom before work. What's wrong with her? Why are you saying that, Heather? An increasing sense of urgency takes hold in Jeremy's usually calm, lackadaisy voice. Keith? You mean Keith from... Heather begins to sob. Her crying is sputtering and wet. I can hear it from here. Oh, God. Heather, dude, what's wrong? She begins bawling, her whining cry increasingly shrill and choked. Oh, my God. Heather! I can't deal with this right now. Micah, give her a joint. Micah, what? What? I'm not giving her any of mine. She's probably pulling this shit just to get more. Dude, now. I got some of mine in the mini storage out back. Just hurry, okay? Fuck. Okay. Hearing footsteps, my heart lurches. I move back around to the other side of the structure, praying that my clumsy otter self is actually stealthy for once in my life. However, it isn't long before I see him round the same corner I just did. What in the goddamn shit? Micah's big eyes widen in alarm, the words catch in his throat, higher pitched than his others. There is a pause, and having been caught, I haven't got a clue of what to say. Well, shit. It really is you. He mutters, his face taking a more stern expression. What? What the fuck are you doing here, schizo? I'm jolted for a moment, that being something that I haven't been called in years. I swallow, crossing my arms and trying to look nonchalant. Looking for Jeremy. Thought you fucked off to college like the rest. I thought you disappeared back in '08. A quiet huff escapes the small bat. Well, I'm here now. Heather's crying can still be heard in the background, her banshee-like wails providing an odd ambience to this reunion. Why do you need to see Jeremy? I'm looking for Carl. An indiscernible expression takes hold upon Micah's face, intense with his gaze looking to his surroundings. Rich Goat ain't here. Why? Is Leo with you? No. Suddenly Jeremy approaches from around the corner. Dude, what the hell is taking... What the hell? The stout Phoenix's turquoise eyes bulge. He's much more round than I remember him, looking like a mix of Jenna with Carl's body. Schizo's here? Oh, Jesus. Where's the wolf? He says he's not here. Guys, I'm looking for Carl. Even the police are searching for him now. Micah tenses the hell up at that information, his standoffish demeanor completely gone. One of the few people he talked to before he went missing around midnight was you, Jeremy. Have any idea where he could have gone? Jeremy stares ahead at me blankly. There's a certain warmth that Jenna possesses to her gaze that her brother completely lacks in. I look at Jeremy now, and all I can see are all the times he threatened me over stuff I didn't do, called me a faggot, and hit me. Yet there's something different in his demeanor than I remember. He's less intense. Schizo, I'd tell you if I knew. I just hooked him up yesterday, like a quarter-mile from his house. Ever since he crashed his ride, he makes me come out there to him when he wants to buy. So, he didn't mention anything about running off? I can't see Carl running. Why the hell would he want to when he's got everything he'd ever want in the castle? Castle. Which is why it's worrying that he isn't there. Did it look like someone broke in? No? Oh. You didn't give him anything laced, did you? I don't really know how all that works. No, it's the same stuff I smoke. That's not that reassuring, but I nod regardless. Well, thanks. We're staying at Carl's if you hear anything or see him around somewhere. Jeremy frowns, canting his head to the side. We? Is Jenna with you? Yeah. Jeremy's frown deepens, but he doesn't look exactly angry or anything. Oh. There is a pause of silence, punctuated by a choking sob from Heather behind the house. How's she doing? The usual. Better than everyone else. Jeremy's frown shifts to a lopsided smile, Fox even grinning for a second. One of his front teeth is chipped in half. Sounds about right. Micah looks over his shoulder. Gonna get that joint now. He sidesteps, grunting as he passes. Nice soul patch, fag. You've got a glass house there, stone thrower. I've got a lot of stones. Now fuck off. Who is this neon sign fuck me of a bat treat me like this? I liked him better when he was just a tiny annoying klepto. But I liked him even more when he was on the back of a milk carton. Jeremy watches Micah for a moment before scratching his gut. His eyes are upon me now. Yeah, you should go now? Of course. Gladly. I look around at my surroundings. I'll let Jenna know you're doing just great here. Eat shit. Don't come back. Jeremy just stares at me until I begin to walk away, then goes back to Heather. She's still crying. Okay, everyone. That'll do it. That's it for this week. But wow, what a whole lot that was covered today, or covered on Wednesday in this game. I especially like the Route 65 references that I just don't think are there in other routes. I have to look back. But Suplex It, in Carl's old tagline. Let's also cover Leo's tantrum at the Plex. And that was prompted again by him being shown up by Jenna, because she's such a boss. But then the differences between the other routes and this one, just the ride to Carl's mansion is different because there's no Flynn. He drives there separately. And it was right after they get done with the mall. Sometimes they, other routes, sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do go to Carl's place right after the mall. Some days it's like on a different day. This one, it was they go there, they get in trouble at the suplex, at the Plex. Thanks, Carl. But they go do their stuff at the Plex, and then they go directly from there to Carl's place. There's still Janice, taking a piss in the road. And then when they get there, like, there's a lot of similar stuff, but Chase is taking a much more active role in this route. Chase is the one that lifts Jenna up into the window, other than Leo. I think in every other route, Leo lifts her up. Chase is given a lot more private time with Jenna, and I love it. Go, Chase, go! And he's also given a more active role with TJ in developing Carl's backstory. You get to see all the stuff that was on his computer. And the fact that Carl hasn't bothered changing the password in, how many years? So, yeah, kind of interesting. You get to see a lot more of Carl's backstory. There's a whole lot of Carl when he's not even there, which is actually really clever by the writer. So good job, guys. Oh yeah, and Leo is on the run because I love the fact that there's consequences in this route. Leo throws a temper tantrum, breaks something at the Plex. And, everyone else is kind of taking responsibility. It's not let any kids come in here, play in glass. But then the sheriff, like, they got the plates. It's like, yeah, that's what would actually happen. So now Leo's, temper tantrum, kind of, more childish behavior is finally catching up to him in this route. I mean, this is a much more adult route than the other ones, I think, so far. I mean, not super dark yet, but much more adult, Flynn's taking control, Jenna's taking control, Leo's off on his own. It's pretty different. Also, shout out to Kaiser, because this is the route where his character, well, not really his character, Vincent. Now, the one from his Welcome to Echo series, that gets introduced here, gets mentioned here in the Rainbow Frappuccinos. So pretty interesting. And yeah, on Wednesday, I think it's typical on Wednesday, you get introduced to a side character. And in this case, it's side characters. Plural. We've got 3 of them. There's Heather. There's her brother Jeremy, Jenna's brother Jeremy, and the klepto bat Micah. I hope you all like the character. I hope you all like the voices I gave them. I was considering giving Jeremy more of a, trying to do a Jesse from Breaking Bad voice, but something about Micah just, that tells me more about that. I think Jeremy would be like a little slower, so I kind of just went something. Yeah, it's a little more high pitched like this, almost kind of something. I don't know. Up over it. I have to work on my Jesse voice too for Micah. So, yeah, and we get to see their interaction with Chase, and it pretty much tells us everything we need to know about those guys' relationship with, the main crew. Not, we've heard hints before, we've got an idea, but now we actually see it, and they do not like each other. So, really cool. Looking forward to more. I hope you all are as well, because that's going to do it for this time. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and until next time, bye.